Click. The call ends. Grace grips the phone in both hands, breath shallow. She turns. Mark is standing in the doorway, arms crossed, silent, watching.
Who is that?
Her fingers tighten around the phone. Not all cages have bars. Not all captors use force. What's more dangerous? A man who shouts, or a man who smiles while he takes everything from you? A soft glow from the pendant light casts a warm, deceptive calm over the kitchen. The countertops are spotless, everything in its place. But inside, Grace feels anything but calm. She stands by the kitchen counter, gripping the phone with both hands, like a lifeline. The soft, caring tone of her long-lost friend brings back memories she'd prefer to forget.
It's been too long, Jane. I can't tell you how good it is to hear your voice.
She listens, closing her eyes for half a second, letting herself feel it. Connection, comfort. But then, a shadow shifts behind her. Mark watches her from the doorway, a small, almost curious smile on his face.
Jane, wow, I haven't heard that name in forever.
Grace freezes.
I know, Gracie, I've missed you. We used to talk all the time. What happened? Is everything okay?
Grace hesitates. The truth is right there, lodged in her throat. Mark steps forward, slow, unthreatening.
I worry about you, you know that, right?
Grace tightens her grip on the phone.
It's just Jane, an old friend from university.
Mark chuckles softly, like a husband indulging his wife's little quirks.
Really? You never mentioned calling her before. You know we don't keep secrets, right?
His voice isn't cold. It's warm, too warm, like a parent catching their child sneaking out past curfew. Grace swallows, carefully choosing her next words.
It's nothing, Mark, just catching up.
Mark nods, still smiling, still soft.
Of course, you don't have to explain yourself to me, sweetheart.
Then, so smoothly it's almost an afterthought, he reaches out and takes the phone right from her hands. Not forceful, not aggressive, effortless. He isn't angry, he isn't cruel, he's just concerned. And when someone you love frames control as care, how do you fight back? Grace, startled, barely a gasp. Mark, gentle, reassuring.
Shh, let me say hi.
He lifts the phone to his ear, his voice calm, friendly.
Hey, Jane, long time, huh? You caught Grace at a bit of a bad moment.
Click. He ends the call, so casual, so natural, as if it was the obvious thing to do. Grace exhales, shaky.
You never have time for me, but for Jane, you clear your whole evening.
Grace looks at him. Really looks at him. He looks back. Nothing cruel in his expression, nothing harsh, just expectant, waiting for her to see things his way. A beat. Then she swallows, turns, reaches for a dish towel just to have something to do.
You're overreacting.
Mark sighs, almost regretful. He steps closer.
You always say that.
His voice is calm, steady. Not a threat, but something worse. A truth she can't argue against. Grace's fingers tighten around the towel. She doesn't look at him. She doesn't have to. She knows better than to push. The room is dim. Mark is already asleep, breathing slow even, oblivious. But Grace, wide awake. Her phone, hidden under her pillow, vibrates softly. She carefully pulls it out. A text message from Jane.
I'm here for you, always.
Her breath hitches. She starts typing.
I miss you too.
Her thumb hovers over the send button. Then she deletes it. Not because she doesn't feel it, because she does. She turns her head, looking out the window. Beyond the glass, Helen's house. A house where laughter is real, where voices are free. Grace exhales, shaky. For a moment she considers forcing herself to sleep, but she knows she won't. The midday sun makes everything look too normal. Grace steps onto her porch, heart hammering. She glances over her shoulder. Mark is out, for now. She moves quickly, across the lawn, up to Helen's door. She knocks, once, twice, a beat. Then, the door swings open. "Grace, I was hoping you'd drop by." Grace exhales.
I didn't know if I should.
Helen studies her for a moment. Then, without a word, she steps aside. An unspoken invitation. Grace hesitates, only for a second. Then, she steps inside. The room is cozy, lived in, books stacked on the coffee table, a knit blanket draped over the armchair. It smells like cinnamon tea and something else. Something Grace can't name, something safe. Helen watches as Grace takes it all in. Grace's fingers twitch at her sides. She feels like an intruder in someone else's normal. Helen senses it, offers nothing but quiet understanding. "Tea?" Grace nods. "Yes, thank you." Helen disappears into the kitchen. Grace stays standing. Then, slowly, she sinks into the couch. She exhales. For the first time in a long time, she isn't holding her breath. Helen returns and hands her a cup of cinnamon tea. Grace holds it with both hands, lets the warmth seep into her skin. A long silence sits between them. Then, Grace asks softly, as if lost in thought and more to herself.
Is this normal?
Helen tilts her head, intrigued by the question.
Is this what life is supposed to feel like?
Helen doesn't answer right away. Then, gently, "You tell me." Grace breathes in, looks around, at the space, the ease. She doesn't know anymore. She really doesn't.